Hi, I'm Marco D'Angelo, co-founder of WagerTalk.com. We're going to do the continuing series of Behind The Bettor. Going to get you to know a little bit about me and what I'm all about. I've been betting sports professionally since 1980, and we're still going strong. Is there a specific season that comes to mind as the best during my career? That is easy, and that's 2010 baseball season. We went an incredible 25 straight winners during the summer of 2010. And the biggest part of that accomplishment that I'm proud of is we never laid more than 120 in any of those baseball games. That will go down as my best season in all of sports. Do you remember a day that most profitable for you in sports betting? Well, not quite sports betting, but one of the most memorable days for me and most satisfying was 2017 Kentucky Derby. I love betting the horses, and I like to share that with my clients. And that day, we were keying off of a horse, and the horse's name was Lookin' at Lee. He was a huge long shot in the Kentucky Derby that year. He finished second, and he brought us back a $336 exacta for $2, and the trifecta came back at $8,276. That was one of the most incredible days betting for me personally, but I love the fact that for a little bit of money, I made my clients a ton of money. Who would be on my Mount Rushmore of people in sports betting? Well, that's an easy one. You start with Billy Walters. Everybody's going to put Billy Walters there. The next one that I would go with would be Roxy Roxborough, great lines maker here in Las Vegas for so many years. Another one, probably not as wide known, but this goes back to the heyday, the early days when the books took a stand, put the numbers up, and I would go with Bob Martin, old-time odds maker. And then for the last one on my Mount Rushmore, I'm going to go current, and I'm going to go with Westgate's own Jay Kornegay. What he did at Imperial Palace and brought to the Westgate to what we see now with everything behind us here and the Super Bowl prop bets and everything else, he deserves to be on that Mount Rushmore of sports betting here in Vegas. What's the biggest mistake I see sports bettors making today? Well, since we've had the legalization of sports betting across the country in many states, places like FanDuel, DraftKings, and so forth, they make it sexy with the parlays. Everybody wants to bet parlays because you want to spend a little bit of money to make a lot of money. I can tell you, if you do that on a consistent basis, 4 or 5 leg parlays, they're going to carry you out on a stretcher. That's my best advice. Stay away from those parlays. Other than sports betting, what's your favorite way to gamble? This is a toss-up for me. I love to play poker here in Vegas, but my true second passion is betting horses. I own horses, I bet horses, I love horse racing. That would be my second most favorite way to gamble. What's the best gambling movie ever? Well, that's going to be a great segue from the last question because it's going to be a horse racing movie, and that is, without question, Let It Ride. Richard Dreyfuss, Jennifer Tilly, absolutely degenerate gambling movie. If you've never seen it, you got to watch it. It's a great one. And as Trotter said in that movie, I'm having a very good day.
I'm having a very good day.
Do you remember your first sports bet? And if so, what was it? Well, my two first introductions to betting, one would be going to the racetrack with my dad, betting horses. That was probably at age 10. Then for my first sports bet, that would be an NFL 2-team 7-point teaser. My dad would let me play one teaser every week to watch the football games with him, and I was probably 13 or 14 whenever I was doing that, and that was my start to betting football. College football Saturdays or NFL Sundays? Boy, I could go either way there, but I really love college football. I love the emotional aspect of college football, of dealing with young kids on a weekly basis, the highs and lows, the rivalries. College football for me on the Saturdays in the sports book. If you could only bet one sport for the rest of your life, what would it be? Yeah, we'll go back to college football. I love the aspect of college football. I like that I get to break down the games. You got a week to do the games. You look at the emotion. You can study the injuries. Today, one of the things about NBA, for example, you got to wait to see the lineups, who's in, who's out, load management, all that stuff. College football is still, to me, the purest sport to bet. What's your all-time favorite sports book in Las Vegas? All right, I'm going to cop out on this one. I'm going to give you a two-part answer. I'm going to go old school and new school. Old school, it's not here anymore, and that would be the Stardust. There was nothing like the Stardust Sportsbook. Whenever I was coming out to Vegas, I was coming 3-4 times a year, 5 times before I decided to move here back in 2008. Without question, my favorite sports book was the Stardust. I went there all the time. I had so much logo stuff from the Stardust that I would buy every trip. That was where the Las Vegas line originated. Every Sunday night, everybody waited to see that line come out. Now, my favorite, we're standing in it. The sports book here at the Westgate, the incredible screens, the fact that it is a non-smoking sports book, love that as well. You can sit here all day and enjoy the games. Not one of the best atmospheres in Las Vegas. What's the best sporting event you ever attended? All right, I'm going to go as a teenager back in Pittsburgh. The 1971 World Series, Game 3. The Pittsburgh Pirates were down 2-0 in that series to the Baltimore Orioles. They were up 2-1 in the 7th inning, and Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell led off the inning. Clemente beat out infield single, the base runner, the first baseman got pulled off the base, and then Willie Stargell walked, put 2 runners on. Bob Robertson came up to the plate. The manager, Danny Murtaugh, put on the bunt sign. He was supposed to bunt those 2 guys over to try to get the insurance run. He missed the bunt sign and hit a 3-run homer. I was there, saw that. I was in the outfield, put the Pirates up 5-1 in that game. They went on to win that game and win the World Series that year. That was a big game for me. I remember that one well. Best advice for sports bettors. I'm going to give you something that my dad told me with horse racing, and I ended up applying that to my style of betting in sports. Okay, a lot of guys like to bet a lot of games, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's just not my style. I like to limit my plays. When we used to go to the races, to betting horses, my dad would always tell me, you can bet a race, you can beat a race, but you can't beat the races. And I've used that same philosophy in sports betting. I can't beat the entire board, but I can pick my spots, find the highest percentage plays, and then make 1 to 3 plays a day, maybe on the bigger cards on a Saturday, 3 to 5 plays, limit my liability, find what I feel are the best winning situations, and capitalize on them. That's what I would say to young sports bettors today. What's your most memorable sports bet? Well, the Kentucky Derby one that I talked about earlier, but I remember Super Bowl, and I believe it was 1985. It was the Miami Dolphins versus the San Francisco 49ers. I was only 24 at the time, and when I made that bet, it was one of my biggest bets to date. I loved the 49ers in that game. Dan Marino, only second year in the NFL, gets to a Super Bowl. I just thought he was overmatched by the 49er offense, and they got destroyed in that game. One of the easiest wins I ever had, one of my biggest bets early on in my career. So that is one that sticks with me as my most memorable bet. What was my first job in the sports betting industry? Well, that was working for myself. I started my company back in 1980, and I'll never forget how I started the company. I started it the day after the Super Bowl in 1980. I ran an ad in a publication that used to be out here, H&H Sporting Times, and we ran an ad saying, "Attention, all Super Bowl losers. Call me tonight for a free winner." And the game was Florida State in college basketball. We gave them the correct side. I had people call, and all we did whenever they called is I said, "Listen, this play, no obligation. I want you to take this play. You like the analysis on the game, and you like how we do things. Give me a call tomorrow. I'll tell you about the packages that I have available." We won that game that night, and that started my career in this business. That's it for the questions, guys. Appreciate you hanging out with me and getting to know me a little bit. This has been WagerTalk's Behind the Bettor series. Again, I'm Marco D'Angelo, co-founder of WagerTalk.com.